G'day guys, Brisbane Brothers here, Aussie.
And Dan's.
Doug has sent me a parcel with a couple of goodies that he said that we can put to good use on the Brisbane Brothers channel. Thanks for your help. I hope these 351 bits help out the channel. From Doug Mills, South Australia. What an absolute legend.
He's definitely a Brisbane brother.
You've got some MSZ Street Fire leads here, brand new.
Sick.
Got all of the ends here. You got some pressure plate bolts, ARB.
Brisbane Brothers, didn't it? Wait, it said, did it say Brisbane Brothers?
No, man. It actually
so technically it's for both of us.
New engine mounts.
It's Clevo King, check it out.
Oh man, that's sick. Oh yeah, cool. Oil pressure sender, some carby studs. Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Really appreciate it, mate. You're a legend. I might have to set up a PO box, guys, so if anyone has stuff laying around that they want to send to us, that they can ship it in. We'll always put it to good use. We actually just picked up a top loader for this project, so we're going to need that. We need the pressure plate bolts straight away. The engine mounts we'll probably use in here. We're doing a quick video with a 400 horsepower 289 aluminium CNC heads with a big comp cam, comp push rods, comp rockers. We're gonna do a whole series of videos to help guys be able to build engines and work on them themselves at home and in the garage. Alright, so what we're doing is how to do hydraulic lifter in preload with a roller rocker on a 7/16 stud. If you look at my Clevo King videos, you will see I've done the bolt-on Cleveland rocker video. This is a little bit different, but it's very simple. So we're going to use the EOIC method, which is exhaust opening, intake closing. So what that means is we're going to spin the engine around. We're going to have a look here at the intake valve and the exhaust valve push rods, what they're doing, and at the right corresponding time when so EOIC, EOIC, exhaust opening, intake closing. It's very simple. We'll just watch it, we'll know where we're at, we'll do one cylinder at a time. All I'm going to show you is number one quickly today, and I'm going to give you as a bonus little tip what the Brisbane Brothers do for 3 horsepower. Alrighty, we'll leave the rocker down here. 15/16 socket on the breaker bar. We're going to start turning the engine over. So we want to watch this intake valve opening until it's about to close there. Now, where the intake valve is about to close is where this lifter is on the base lobe for the exhaust. So when the intake is closing, you set the exhaust, and when the exhaust just starts to open is when the intake is on its base lobe to set it. Hope you are following on. It's very simple. I hope I'm not saying it confusing. EOIC, exhaust opening, intake closing. So what we've just seen is that the intake is closing. We're going to set our exhaust on cylinder number 1. It doesn't matter what cylinder, doesn't matter what cam, doesn't matter what engine. This is the way to go when you're adjusting the tappets. Put the breaker bar down now. We're going to get a 5/8 spanner. We're going to get a 732 Allen key wrench. We're going to come back to this exhaust. So the intake was closing, the exhaust is at its base lobe. So we're going to get the rocker. Make sure you're on the flat part of the rocker, not the round part. Dan's gone through and got all of this ready for me already. Thanks, bro. Engine assembly valve on the valve tips always. You can do your push rods, but I find when you're gonna prime it that it can actually clog it up and cause trouble later. And you want to check with your lifters that they've got a bit of preload, so that when you start setting your lash, if the lifters are locked, you have to clean them. We'll do a video on that later. So we're setting this exhaust valve because the intake valve is closing. So what we'll do, we'll back the poly lock grub nut out, We'll wind this down until we find what I call zero. So we're gonna watch this lifter cup here, and we're gonna wind it down until right there where the push rod spins. There's no slack, you can't push the push rod up and down. That's zero. Now with a hydraulic cam, you read your cam card, they recommend 30 to 40 thou preload. The Brisbane brothers tip is the less preload, the more horsepower. And the more you can stretch the cam RPM. So what we like to do is at zero here, a poly lock on a 7/16 stud, one turn is approximately 40 thou. Now check your studs, even if the studs are unmarked, most studs are made by ARP, they'll be the same pitch, 7/16. So what you want to do to get to your 30 thou if one wind is 50 is generally a bit more than half a turn, you know, and that's going to be at your 30. But what we want to do here is we want to go quarter of a turn. So with our 5/8 at zero, we're going to get this, we're going to key it in here. Look, we'll key it in this way. We're going to go 1/4 of a turn. Okay, so 0, 1/4 of a turn, that's it. Now the push rod's snug, it still moves. It's probably only got on 1/4 of a turn 15 thou preload, but it is going to be perfect. So we'll hold this outer 5/8 now. With the 732, we're going to lock down the grub screw into the poly lock. Now, because we've got the adjustment right where the roller rocker is, you do not want this to turn. You want to just turn the center. So you hold that stiff, you do this. Now, a little tip, you don't have to do this, but I like to do this. Just a little extra safety. Rubber mallet. Do you see that? Just that little cinch there? That's going to be perfect. The roller rocker will never come undone. We've got exactly our 15 thou preload, which might seem a little bit loose, guys, but I'm telling you, you'll make a lot of power. Okay, we've set that exhaust valve. Let's move over and set this intake. So now that it's adjusted, we're going to turn the motor over until the exhaust valve just starts to open. E-oik, exhaust opening, intake closing. So that exhaust straight away just snaps shut on its intake, just snapped shut on its seat, so it was closing all the way. Now we'll turn it around. As soon as I feel these lifters start to come up, yep, it's coming up now. Okay, get the camera in here and have a look carefully as you rock that. See how it's coming up? That's it. Now, as the exhaust is opening, the intake is now on the base circle of the camshaft. Look, to really show this simply, I should run and get a camshaft now, but I won't. I'll do a quick representation with my hands. A lobe's like this. The camshaft core is very centralized to the base of the lobe, and you want to adjust your valve somewhere down here on the base. You don't want to be adjusting it on the ramp, or it'll be wrong. So if you follow the Ford book, how it says to do a Cleveland, everyone stuffs it up and they don't get it right. This is just the way, hydraulic or solid, e-oik, real easy. So this valve has just started to snap open, which is the exhaust. Now it's on the base lobe on the intake. We're going to put this intake rocker on. We'll grab our roller rocker here. It's a Comp Cams 1.6 Windsor. Check the flat, guys, just quickly.
Go through, check
as
the oil
I said,
hole.
Look, Dan goes ahead and does
check
all of
everything
this stuff for me.
Thoroughly check. You don't want any contamination on the rocker, on the fulcrum, on the nut,
you back your
on
poly
the
lock
push rod.
out.
So you sterilize it all, thoroughly clean it all before installing it.
This on, we're going to go down now and we're going to find 0. 0. Zero is right there, guys. 0. So 0 is the maximum you can turn the poly lock down without that lifter engaging in the cup and with the slack's taken out of the push rod, but it still turns.
Just turns.
It's very easy. You get the feel for it. But alright, we've set the exhaust. We're on the intake now. We've got our little bit of what I refer to as 0. We'll grab the 5/8 out again. Now we're going to give it that quarter of a turn. So let's try and get this on. What's going on there? We'll get it on here. Okay, quarter of a turn, guys. As I said, the 1 full turn on the poly lock is 50 thou. Quarter of a turn, we're at about 15 thou. It's a little bit less preload than a hydraulic cam is recommended, but less is more when you want to turn the thing over and have a bit of fun on the street. I'm telling you, the push rod, note, the push rod still spins freely. Push rod spins freely. Right, so you get your 5/8 out. Because we've set this now, we've got it where we want it. We do not want this to move. You've got to come back in with your 5/8, grab that, hold it. We're not going to let that run away from us now. Keep it exactly where it is. We're going to get the grub down. This one's just a bit annoying because the handle's in there. I could have removed it, but it's fine, guys.
It's much nicer with a bit of a T-handle or
right, so
the right tool, but
this injured. Now that would be enough, but because these have been undone, if you look on the top of there's a little groove cut from the poly lock, and there's a bit of oil on here because this stuff's all being used. This is a fully running engine. What you want to do is give it the little nip with the mallet. If it's brand new, you don't have to, you can just snip it. So this hand here is steady, do not let it move. This is what we're nipping. So you hold this is just holding this down so it doesn't slip, it doesn't munch the grub screw on the Allen key. That's it, just a bit of a tap. That's nipped. That hasn't moved. Push rod still spins. Got the CNC ported heads here, guys. Alright, that's it. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Awesome. Brisbane brothers. It's that easy. It's that easy, guys.
There's something pretty interesting.
Can do everything at home. There's a little thing that I'm going to mention now. I'm going to be adopting this on the Clevo King channel. Build better, understanding involves learning and doing. You won't learn how to do this stuff, guys, by reading books and watching videos. You've got to actually get your hands dirty. You've got to get in. You've got to do the job like this. You've got to have a brother like Dan who's willing to put the hours in to clean things up and line your push rods and your roller rockers and everything up. This is it, guys. This thing is going to make more power than it's ever made. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Turn on notifications. We're going to do another video how to adjust a lash on a solid cam with Dan's Beast that's pushing about 600 horsepower. Right, see you guys.
What I was saying, guys, a little tip is we set the high RPM loose, and if you got torque low RPM, you can set it tight. You can actually improve the torque and change the characteristics of the motor, but for high RPM total power, loose as possible is safe as possible. Thanks for watching, guys.